What's going on, YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition to my King Kong comic book reviews. This video, we're going to be talking about Return to Skull Island, issue number 3. It is a MonsterVerse comic book, and we're continuing the adventures of the Skull Island animated TV series. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the full TV series, I did an entire live stream discussing it many years ago when it debuted, and I have thoughts on the first 2 issues, so you can go ahead and check those out on the channel. So now here we are at the start of issue 3. The last issue, we had Annie, her mom, and then it was Mike or whatever. We're getting ready to put together a crew to head back to Skull Island using, 2 ships and all that, and bringing Dog along with them to rescue Charlie, his dad, and whoever else may be kind of there in there. So we also saw at the end of the previous issue, Kong was going toe-to-toe with a new Titan. I believe the name is Yugoth, which is this elemental sort of monster. So Skull Island's giving us some interesting new Titans added to the MonsterVerse. We had the Kraken beforehand, and we have all these other little creatures. There's little cameos for little Skullcrawler type things in there. Not necessarily some of the stuff we've seen in the, I guess if you call Titan Chasers. There's some other Titans that we didn't see in this thing that aren't in that. So yeah, but let's go ahead and talk about what happened. So it's basically them heading back. This one's written by Simon Furman, artist Christopher Jones, colorist Charlie Kirchhoff, letterer Andrew, and world design Luis Yamani, and designer Dan Bura. So there's the credits for that. Open up the issue with Dog hunting some sharks in the ocean. I like the fact that Dog's able to swim the entire thing pretty much. And we have some moments where they're about to get ready to go in the storm. Everyone else gets ready to head below deck, but Annie is kind of a survivalist, adrenaline junkie teenage girl, and she's having difficulty connecting with her mom. She's still not calling her mom. She's calling her Irene in that. And eventually they do kind of their bond starts to strengthen as the issue continues. We also see that given Kong's fight with the monster Yugoth, it's kind of left the island vulnerable to all sorts of other creatures to rise up. So Kong was keeping things in balance. They had used him to face off against the Kraken, and he needs time to heal because that thing really was brutal. But Kong had a vendetta against that thing too, given what happened to some of his, like one of his closest human friends long before he met Gia and all that, dying at the hands of this thing. And that poor creature has just been subjected to so much to endure, as a character throughout his existence. And he just needs time to heal, but he can never catch a break when it comes to this stuff. So Charlie and Kaia and his father and all that, they're trying to find means to survive, facing off against these other little nightmarish creatures. I can't remember the name of these things are. Maybe they named them in the Skull Island anime series, or I'm sure one of the MonsterVerse whatever wikis or whatever will probably list the names of these things. They're not skull crawlers, they're something else, and I don't recognize them from the Titan Chasers game. But anyway, so Annie's there. She's excited because she's getting back to the island. That's where she's kind of spent most of her life. Not Skull Island necessarily, but other islands, just in this state of constant craziness, I should say. So they get right ahead of the island. We also see Yugoth. It's some sort of elemental Titan. It's like the earth is kind of forming together to kind of create something unique. Kong barely survived, and the people are just that Charlie and them kind of befriended this Kaia and all her tribe of people, where basically in a state where they have to get off the island because they're not going to survive with Kong not there. So we got that going on, and then we get the reunion amongst everybody, get some battles, some chaos, and that's basically kind of what happens in a nutshell. Yugoth senses that these people are trying to leave, so he's going to use that as a means to lure out Kong and finish the job, and that's basically where we end this thing. We get the reunion between Charlie and his friends, which is a nice bit because they've been separated for a while, really since the Skull Island animated series ended a few years ago. So we got at least that in there. Not much Kong in this thing because he's mostly just kind of healing off to the sides. We get some character moments between Annie and her mom, because she finally calls her mom at one point. She says, "Don't mess with my mom," when beforehand she kept calling her Irene, and she's like, "Oh, she called me mom." And it's finally we're breaking through in some sort of capacity with this stuff. I'm still convinced that her last name is going to be revealed to be Andero or something. That's just been a theory that's been populating in my head since the beginning of the Skull Island animated TV series, because you have a character named Annie, and within the mythos of Kong, the last name has to be Darrow. If they don't do that, then I was wrong, but they still haven't shown the last name. I'm convinced it has to be Ann Darrow. Like this, the MonsterVerse take on that character. Just a theory of mine, which we'll see if it actually plays out over the course of this thing. So yeah, I thought Yugoth, like I said, is an interesting looking monster. Look forward to seeing kind of what it does in the inevitable rematch between that thing and Kong. And I'm wondering if this tribe will end up leaving Skull Island, or maybe we'll get characters, because I remember the Skull Island Birth of Kong comic we had, was it Houston Brooks' son Aaron got trapped on the island? Are we going to cross paths with those characters? I believe this takes place somewhere in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, or Monarch will show up, because we have these other guys doing some nefarious things. Are they connected to Monarch in some sort of way? Maybe Monarch rescues them, because Monarch is still operating in the shadows at this point. Like, they're aware of Skull Island's existence. Are they going to send a rescue mission, or are we going to have any sort of connection to that? Is this tribe necessarily the Iwi or something else? Don't 100% fully know, but I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But overall consensus, still a pretty enjoyable issue overall. Looking forward to whenever we get the next thing, because this was supposed to come out last month, but now it's releasing now. So, I mean, they're taking the time with this thing, but I do appreciate the art style too, just being exactly like the show. So I'm glad that's not very, like, I'm glad there's some consistency between that. Like, it just feels really like a true continuation of that. So there you go. That's basically what happens in this issue in a nutshell. Fun overall. Looking forward to seeing Kong face off against this thing again. Don't know if we'll ever get a second season of the show. I'm just convinced that it's just gonna conclude with this book, which is better than just kind of leaving it on a open cliffhanger, I suppose. So if you enjoyed the issue, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all that fun stuff. We've got some more books coming out, but I want to get this one out there because usually, like, if I get a lot of requests, hey, when's the Return to Skull Island thing coming out? So, like, okay, here we go. Here's what happens in it, and talk about what I think works and what I think doesn't necessarily work with it. Artwork works pretty solid. Yeah, so, but anyways, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out. Oh, and be sure to subscribe too. That's something. All right, later.